Hi guys, this is John Adamson, the Rehab Documentation Guru, and we can thank Jamar Haggins, and hopefully Jamar, I'm saying your name correctly, for today's video. He had us ask this following question. John, could you do a video on documenting skilled services while using a recumbent bike? So I did that, and what we're going to do first is we're going to review what is a skilled statement. When we're documenting skilled interventions, things that we're going to bill, what should we document according to? Well, keep these bullets in mind, and please forgive the background noise, guys. I'm outside, but I'm where I can get some good Wi-Fi. So the first thing that we want is the CPT code mentioned. This alerts the reviewer to what the code is going to be billed so that they don't have to dig and figure out what does this documentation go with. Second thing should be an action word, and the action should be that the therapist is at least implied to have done the action because we're the ones getting paid for the action. The next thing you want to do is target your action, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Any special techniques that you utilized, the patient's response to care, and finally, what should be evident if a reviewer looks from note to note is their evolution of care over time. So here's the example, and there's all sorts of examples we could use for a recumbent bicycle. One of the things that Medicare is targeting is use of recumbent type trainers because a lot of times the ways therapists utilize them and document on them is lacking in skill. It really looks like anybody could have administered a recumbent bike or a UBE or a NuStep or an Omnicycle. So here is how you can up the ante in showing that it was your skill. So here's the example. 97110. Okay, there's the CPT code for TheraX. And when you're doing a recumbent bike, most likely, not always the case, but most likely you are billing therapeutic exercise. And in this case, it's clearly TheraX that should have been billed. 97110, therapist. Okay, so we're naming the person that did the action. Sure, the patient did activity, and that should be documented what they did, but the person that's billing for the code is you. You want to get paid for it. Therefore, you're the one that did the action. Don't just document patient performed. That is a big no-no. So the therapist, what did they do? They facilitated, and there's the action word. Now, what are they facilitating? Well, here's where the target comes in. Cardiopulmonary training, okay, and we're going to get into that more in a minute, while engaging patient, okay, so still the therapist is one doing the stuff, on a recumbent bike, okay, we're saying specifically what we are utilizing, with consistent monitoring of pulse oximetry and heart rate response to ensure greater than 90% pulse oximetry, and patient maintaining between 60 to 80% heart rate predicted max for optimal cardiopulmonary training response to improve endurance for ambulation. Now, why is that important? Well, therapeutic exercise has 5 things it addresses. Four. Strength, range of motion, flexibility, and endurance. So tell them the target. Here's another target you're utilizing. You're targeting what the CPT code says. And then another target is, why are you doing it? Well, in this case, we're targeting this area because the patient's not walking very far. That's likely evident in other assessments that have been done on the patient. And this will be evident in probably other goals as well. During 20-minute session. Now, what we want to do is we want to tell Medicare, this is why this took this long. And so now we're telling them what's going on. During 20-minute session, patient required 3 separate reductions by therapist in intensity. Now here you want to include for the patient specific patient intensity information like RPM, amount of resistance, how many rest breaks they needed to maintain this level. And why was this needed? Well, it was due to O2 sats dropping to 89% or lower. And then once the therapist had reduced intensity due to heart rate moving to 82% predicted max, indicating high risk of cardiopulmonary compromise. One of the things that you're trying to do is make sure that that reviewer understands that there's no way this patient could have safely and effectively been trained by a non-skilled person. So that's why this is highlighted here. So this includes not only special techniques, but also the patient's response, and that's important. Now, evolution of care over time is really going to be evident from note to note. It's not going to be necessarily showing in just one particular note. But anyway, that's how you would document skilled services for a recumbent bicycle. And I hope that was helpful. Take care. Bye-bye.